the water, and I feel everything. So it's not a dream, it's not a vivid dream. It's like a teleportation. And now I am in another place, like Arcas, with this. And I heard recently GP, or I think it's GP, tell about the technology extraterrestrial base under Bahamas. So everything corroborates like I saw. It's incredible, because the different things is I see under the sea like a rock, and there is the emblem of trident, and it's open, and under there is a big space room with a trident in the wall, in the door and in the wall, like an emblem in a spaceship. And I remember that in the crystal, and there is a lot of beings inside the spaceship too, but I don't remember the color of the skin. There is a pods too. I think there is a lot of place in the Earth awakening at this time, and everything is linked by the Stargate inside Kalash Mountain, inside Egypt, inside, and everything opening.
You're listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
Well, it's my great pleasure to welcome Jean-Charles Moyen and ELENA DANAAN to Exopolitics Today. They have some fabulous material to share about some experiences that they've recently had on Arcas, Halls of Records, and the Galactic Federation mothership there, Excelsior. So welcome, Jean-Charles and ELENA.
Welcome, my friends.
Thank you, Michael, for having us.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, I want to begin, Jean-Charles, with you, because on March 29, you contacted me and you told me that you were taken, that you were teleported to Ireland, where you met ELENA, and then you were taken to a Galactic Federation of Worlds mothership, and so so can you explain what happened, and what did ELENA mean when she said she was going to introduce you to the family?
Yes, in the night I dreamed I was in a path in near a mountain in Ireland. I never go in Ireland of my life, so I describe the background. And in my dream, I was in a path, and there is a mountain with a cloud, and in the cloud there is a big spaceship. And I remember ELENA was here, and she take my hand and she tell me, come on, I want to introduce the family. And after that, we teleport each other in a big spaceship. And she tell me, this is the place where I go when I want to think or zen, and with the big space view of the universe. And it was amazing. And in the front of me, there is a person. It was my wife, Melanie, with a suit. And she turned around and tell me, René, I'm here. Are you surprised? Because me and ELENA, we know each other for a long time. And she disappeared and teleports. After that, I feel something behind me arrive. It was amazing, because it was Toran enter in the room. And when Toran enter in the room, it's amazing. I feel little electrify, chills in my arm. And when I turn back, I see Toran like an angel, blonde hair, like a gold, with a blue eyes, with a bright blue eyes, like a LED in her eyes. It was unbelievable. You can't forget a meeting like that. And il vient vers moi.
He comes towards me.
Yes, he comes towards me, and he tells me telepathically, don't worry, you know who I am. And he put her finger like that in my head, and suddenly I'm teleported in Antarctica with ELENA, and we are in a big room, and there is a lot of beings in stasis, like stars, like a form of stars. They are blue beings inside the tube, and I remember they have a suit with the emblem. I remember it was a triangle with a star inside, like a Pleiadian. And it was amazing, because when I tell this is to ELENA, she described at the same night the same thing, the same path, Ireland. She tell me, oh my God, it's crazy because you describe where I live. Okay. And I remember to walk in the path, but I don't remember you. But I think at this time, why I'm here? And it's like she have a hand like with nobody, and she is a dog in the past, and she raises her head and she describes the same thing: the mountain, the cloud, and the big spaceship. But at this time, Toran tells to, if I remember, Toran tells to ELENA, I can't tell what I say to John Charles, because he must be souvenir. He must be remember. Thank you. He must be remember himself what he do. And after that, I remember everything. And after that, ELENA remember she is in an arc. And when I say to Toran where I am, and he tell me we are in Antarctica. Okay, Antarctica is big. So where in Antarctica? And he tell me precisely we are in a lake under the Lake Vostok.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we go there to Antarctica, we first should spend a little bit of time just exploring exactly what happened when you say you were taken to Ireland and then you went up to this spacecraft where you met with ELENA. Now you say dream. So are we talking about like a vivid, some vivid dream? Are we talking about a out-of-body experience? Is this something that had some kind of physical manifestation?
It's difficult to explain, because when I say dream, it's more easy to people understand. But for me, when I dream, I bring something in my dreams. So I say dream, but I think it's not dream, because I feel everything. I feel the wind, I feel the touch. I remember the touch of the hand of ELENA. I remember the smell, everything. So I don't think it's a dream. Maybe it's a real teleportation, because I have this capacity when I was young, but I don't control this capacity. And at this time, it was maybe 1 month I know ELENA, and we are not friends at this time like now. And I don't know what she live in Ireland, and the background and everything. So I remember I have cold too, and in a dream you don't feel this sensation. It's for me, I think I was physically teleport.
Okay, thank you. Well, ELENA, what do you recall of that incident? Jean-Charles arriving in Ireland, meeting you, and then going up to the Galactic Federation mothership?
Well, my memories first were that I had, I thought it was a dream, but then I know it was physical because I had physical sensations as well. I was cold, I could feel the damp mist, and yeah, I was exactly in the same place. I remember this in the morning, and I didn't tell Jean-Charles because, you don't tell your dreams to people you don't know. Even if you know it's not a dream, to people you barely meet. That's when he told me, I went, wow, I was there too. So my recollection of it is I was teleported in. There's a little pass in the mountains, in the hills behind where I live. And it was in the very early morning. It was still dark. It was wet and misty, and there was this sheepdog on the side looking at me. And then I was on my own, and I had my my arm stretched in the void like this, like, what am I doing? And I saw the mist opening on this scout ship, the belly of the silvery scout ship coming down. And I know that's the scout ships of the Federation, and beam of light above me. And I was about to be beamed on board that ship. That's what I remembered. So in the morning, I thought, wow, amazing. I was beamed up teleported behind my house and beamed on board the ship. But it's strange because usually I remember everything when I'm beamed up, and I didn't. So I asked Thorhan. First, in the meantime, Jean-Charles sent me a message. He said, well, I was teleported in Ireland, and you were there. And he told me what he saw, and and that hit me. So I asked Thorhan, and he said to me, yes, something happened, but you must not be the one who remembers it first, because you will tell the story straight away. It is Jean-Charles' story to remember, and it will be him to tell what happened when the moment will be right. So I told that to Jean-Charles, and I said, I'm sorry, you need to remember yourself. When Jean-Charles remembered a few weeks ago what happened in between, it unlocked my memory as well. And Thorhan told me that it's not me to tell, that's Jean-Charles. I was just there as a witness to certify that he was well there, and it wasn't a story, and as a witness, physical witness. And I remember my part of the story, how I lived it. And I wrote to you, Michael, and when Jean-Charles remembers as well, he remembers the same story, but from different perspective. I was in certain place looking at him, and he was doing other stuff, and we were in the same room, but I think he may want to talk about it.
You mentioned meeting your wife up there, Jean-Charles, Melanie, and ELENA. Do you remember meeting Jean-Charles' wife, Melanie, on that mothership?
I remember a lady with blonde hair and silvery suit, but I didn't know who she was. And so I asked that as well. I asked, and he said that in the future, I will be friend with her. We know each other. And there was also previous lives involved as well, that I don't yet remember. But I remember seeing this woman with a silvery suit, but I didn't know who she was.
Okay, so now, as far as the mothership is concerned, I mean, we're talking about the Excelsior, the command ship for the Galactic Federation, and Jean-Charles, so you're taken there, and you see Thorhan, and Thorhan places his fingers on your head and makes a triangle, and then you're taken to Antarctica. And so, yeah, you talked a little bit about being taken to Antarctica under the Vostok region by the lake, and there's an arc. So, you're taken on the arc. You describe seeing these tubes and these blue beings inside. So why don't you continue the story? What was in these stasis chambers?
Yeah, I remember there is a put in a star form, and when I go to the tube, the light's on, and when I back, the light off. It's like an interaction with me, and I know inside of me, I am like a key, a key. Maybe it's my DNA, or I don't know. And I remember there is a panel outside the beings with a lot of crystal in the panel, and it's marked me because I remember precisely the crystal. And after that, I remember that I was like pull back, and I'm wake up. And the next night or 2 nights, I go again at the same place, and there is in the middle of beings, there is like a stargate, but not front of me, but behind me, and it's like a liquid color blue light. And when I take my hand, I was sucked into and teleport in another arc in another place.
Okay, well,
and yes, and if you want, I can tell where I was.
Yes, we'll discuss that next. But right now, let's just focus on the Lake Vostok arc. Okay. Now, what made you say it was an arc as opposed to, say, a hall or a chamber of some? Why do you believe it was an arc? What was the shape of this place in Antarctica at Lake Vostok that you made you think it was an arc?
I remember there is no bolt, there is a light, but I don't know where from where the light the source of light. It was pure, it was white, and there is no inscription, and I was in a room, but I think there is a lot of room. This is like crew. I think it's the crew of the spaceship. There is 7 beings inside the tube, and she's very tall and blue skin, and she was in a star, in the form of star, and in the middle there is this blue light, like a portal. I think it's linked between a lot of arc. Okay, and I don't move. I just stay in this place at this time. Okay, I can go outside. I see there is a lot of enter, but I just stay at this place at this moment.
So that matches what JP, my army source, says that he saw in the Atlantic arc, that in one of the rooms there was this big blue sphere just suspended in the air that would look like water, but it was a portal to other arcs. So you saw one of these also at the Lake Vostok arc, that there was one there, and you were activating things there, just as JP says he was activating things as well. So it says something about the genetics that's important for activating these arcs and the equipment on there. So ELENA, you apparently also were taken to that same arc in Antarctica. So what do you remember?
Well, first, some things I've noticed of what Jean-Charles told me, that he was on board the ship with me. The way he described Torhan, he described his skin. He has a particular skin. And I mean, there are things I don't really describe myself publicly. He saw that. Also, there's something that he didn't know, that I love to spend time watching looking at the earth through the screen, and that's something I really love. And how could he know, Anyway, yes, so I remember we were there, Thorhan was with us, and we got teleported there. But I had my I was given this suit, on me that I always arrive with, or otherwise I'm clipped a belt, and I saw Thorhan clipping a belt on Jean-Charles. These belts who create an environmental shield, So we were teleported there. I didn't know where we were at all, but we were in a kind of room, empty room. The walls were like glass or crystal, very faceted and translucent and a bit luminescent, blue and white. And we followed Thorhan in a corridor. I couldn't feel the temperature because we had this environmental shield, frequency shield, that maintains, air and pressure and temperature stable, constant. So we walked in this corridor and we arrived in this circular room. There was a lot of desks with machines, and there was in the center it was empty, and on the floor you could see a circle, and this circle this circle that could light up really reminded me the teleport smaller circles on the Excelsior, the mothership of Thorhan. When you step on it, it teleports you somewhere else. So within this circle, I knew it was about teleporting anyone who steps in it somewhere, but I didn't see the portal, the big bubble activating. But we were there, and Jean-Charles was like mesmerized. Well, I was impressed too, but he was more impressed, and he was like looking around and wow. And Thorhan just took my arm and asked me to stay there and not move and watch him. And I went, okay. And I wasn't allowed to go around and wander. And that's when Thorhan said to me, you are here as a witness. Watch him, watch what he's doing. Okay. So I saw Jean-Charles going ahead, and there were these all around us, these pods, stasis pods, with they were a little bit luminescent, but not that much. Like you could see there was a kind of a gel in it, but not gel, something, a substance. But that was very dimmed in light. When Jean-Charles, he walked towards one, and ahead on the left, and the thing lit up in blue. Wow. The fact that he was physically approaching the pod lit up. And it was very impressive. And then I could see from where I stood many meters behind, there was a silhouette in the pod laying down. It was all blue, the blue being, no hair, a blue suit. And that's all I could see from where I was. No more features, but it was tall, like maybe more than 2 meters high anyway. And then I saw Jean-Charles, watching this thing, and wow. And then he stepped back. And Thorhan said that it was time to go. So we were beamed back on board the ship. And then I remember being beamed back to my room in my house. And of course, Jean-Charles was beamed in his house. So that's my perspective of the story as I remember it.
Well, that's incredible confirmation for what Jean-Charles says he experienced, that you witnessed it, that you saw him go to these pods, and you saw him on this ark in Antarctica, and that there were these beings in these pods, and that they are like the crew of that craft, and Jean-Charles activating it. You saw that as well. Now, you did say one important thing there that I thought was very significant. You said that that you had, you were wearing the suit, you were given an environmental suit, but you also given the belt. And Jean-Charles was also given the belt. And I know in the past you've said that this belt, you're given that when you travel to a place physically, because it enables you to be able to deal with the different densities. But when you travel there astrally or in the dream form, you don't need the belt. So that tells us then that what you and Jean-Charles experienced, both going onto the Excelsior in space and then going from there to Antarctica and back, that was all a physical experience.
It was very physical.
I have enough. I remember another detail, very important detail. When I approached to the stasis beings, I feel a lot of unconditional love. It was when I speak, I'm very emotive because I remember that it was like you hug somebody, but 7. When I was in the center, the beings was in a star, and there is the gate, the teleporter. And when I was in the center, I feel inside of me a love. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. And it's important to tell that. Yeah.
Okay, so now, of course, Jean-Charles, you described the next day after you had the experience with ELENA that you went again, and that's when you saw the blue sphere, which is, but ELENA wasn't with you that second trip. So that's, that explains why she didn't see that. But then you described another trip. You told me about another experience you had. This time you were taken to a structure under the Gizeh complex near the Sphinx, and there was a spacecraft or an ark or a hall of record under the Sphinx. And what was very interesting was that you shared with me a drawing that you had made when you were 10 years old of a spacecraft underneath the Sphinx and the Gizeh complex. So that's very telling. So why don't you tell us about that experience? Well, what happened there?
When I was young or now?
The one, actually both. Why don't you tell us both?
When I was young, I'm teleported under the Sphinx, and when I wake up, I draw with the date 1977, and my parents' testimony on I remember, and I draw a big UFO and lot of corridor, secret corridor under the Sphinx. That's it's important because now, when I was in the night, I was teleported under the Sphinx. But at this time, I don't know where I am. I was a lot of things inside around me with the beings again and the crystal again. And I tell to Victor where we are, and he tell me under the Sphinx in Egypt. And I remember I was here when I was a little boy. Yes, this is the same place. And I see everything, but I am under the Sphinx. And you know what? At the same times, the same night, ELENA was at the same place, but behind the wall where I was. It's crazy because, sorry. It's all. What the chance to be at the same place in Egypt under the Sphinx in Gizeh at the same night?
So did you actually see a spacecraft there under the Sphinx?
It looked like a spacecraft because there is the beings too, like in Antarctica. There is the beings in a star form, and the same things arrive when I approach of the stasis, the light on. It is the same things. And at these times, I asked to Victor, what's happened? And he tell me, you are a key. That's it. So it was very important information. So after that, I decided to speak about my teleportation to ELENA, and she tell me, okay, wait, don't tell anything, okay? Write an email and send an email to Michael, okay? And I do the same thing, and 1, 2, 3, we send at the same time, okay? It's a crazy. I think Michael fall in the chair, because when he see, oh my God, it's very important information, because okay, ELENA, you can continue, because you can explain what's happened at this night.
Well, I could directly explain what happened this night, but I would need to tell the story how and why I was there. Is it okay, Michael, or you want? Yes, okay. In 1991, I was taken by Thorhan to the Sphinx of Giza. It was physical also, so I remember being beamed up by the roof of my house, probably onto a ship, and taken there and beamed down. I remember the beam of light there in the night in front of the pose of the Sphinx. Thorhan told me that there was an entrance there, and we need to shift density to pass through the ground and go down in the tunnels, because now the entrance was blocked. So we need to just shift the time to go under. We arrived in there, we kind of rematerialized. It was weird. At the first time, wow. And there was a big corridor. There was a luminescence coming from the walls, but very dimmed and very weird, like reflections of water on the walls, not knowing from where it came from. There was decoration paintings on the walls, and it was a straight cut corridor, straight and very long. I couldn't see the end of it. And on the sides, there were open doors, cut, square, giving to rooms, like storage rooms. So he showed me that this place. He explained to me that this place was built by an ancient civilization that wasn't from Earth a very long time ago, and they left their archives of their knowledge and samples of their technologies there. He took me to a specific room where there were storage shelves, and there were a lot of crystals and crystalline construct tools, and there were 4 eggs of crystal that size, crystal eggs. And he made me look into the one egg, the first one, and I saw the whole history of the place in time, like backward in time. The fact when I need to put my hand a little bit over it, concentrate, focus my vision into it, and there would be holograms jumping at me, going into my head, and I would see a film in my head of how it was in the past, and it would go back very ancient in the time and up until our time. And I saw a civilization. It was buildings like ancient Egyptian buildings, but with very modern elements, like very futuristic elements with it, and flying objects in it. I saw that. So that was and then it took me back. Same, beamed back. That was in 1991. I decided to do archaeology studies, become an archaeologist, which I did, and specialize in Egyptology. So in 1998, I had my certificate as an archaeologist, and I was finalizing my my diploma, my degree in Egyptology. I needed to have a work experience. So I had the opportunity to go to Cairo and have 2 weeks experience on the Giza Plateau, where I met with Dr. Zahi Hawass, and I worked for him doing drawings, survey drawings. It wasn't drawings about the Sphinx, it was drawings about statues and inscriptions on statues they had found. Nothing to do with the Sphinx. But one day he said to me, come, I'm going to show you something. And he took me to an opening. Yeah, there were excavations behind the Sphinx in the left buttocks of the Sphinx. And there was a hole, and you could go inside. And he allowed me to go inside, and I could describe it in more details. But I went inside. It was going very deep. I panicked because I had a claustrophobia attack. I moved back, but I was told by Zahi Hawass himself that down below there was, if I was continuing, I would have arrived in a big hole with rooms. He said rooms on the sides and tunnels going somewhere else. A big room with big hole with rooms on the side and a tunnel going somewhere else. That's what he described to me. I came back up, and I really went to the maximum of my physical capacities to do that, but I couldn't do more. That was it. So I spent years in Egypt as an archaeologist, came back. In 2020, I decided to ask to go back by, beaming there. Because I was curious to know about the other eggs, and try to go back there anyway, asking Thorhan. And so he took me there. Not Thorhan, but Anax took me there. Anax could do that. So same process, beam up, beam down, and going through the ground, in the corridors. And I could read in the two other eggs where I saw holographic data on other topics. There I met also, was there a being that was very scary. He was like the guardian or the janitor, he was very tall and he had a feline head. It was really weird. So I asked at the time, are you from the La'an, from the Lyran constellation? There are beings like this, feline beings. And he was talking by telepathy only. And he said, he made me understood that no, it was a no. And he showed me galaxies, other galaxies. He was coming from other galaxies. And I understood that he was part of the people who build this, who store these objects in this place. And these people were coming from other galaxies. And he was part of a group. They weren't all feline. He was just one feline being, but there were other forms of species. This group was coming from other galaxies. And so I looked into two other eggs. I was brought back. There was a fourth egg that I hadn't had the opportunity, and that happened the night where Jean-Charles was there. So I asked, I was about to ask, I don't know. I didn't know he was going to be teleported there. He didn't know himself, And I asked Thorhan and Anax, could someone beam me up there? I'd like to just think about it, and I would feel ready. And there was no response from them. I went, sometimes I have no response. Sometimes they are busy, and sometimes they don't want to do it because it's not sensible or whatever. And I said, okay, I'm going to try it myself. And the thing is, it's the first time I tried it myself, but I could do it because I had an experience with the Nine and the Intergalactic Confederation a few months ago, where a lady called Una taught me how to open this vortex in my head and project myself. So I managed to do it, project myself there. But once I was there, that was weird because although I projected myself, it felt very physical. I cannot explain why. I could smell the dust of the desert. I could feel the cold wind. I was shivering and in my pajamas. And I went, that's really weird. because when you project your consciousness or astral travel, you're just the light being. But I wasn't. I was physical. But that was, anyway, I'm not able to explain it at the moment. I don't know. So I went, there was a door that opened, that was there in front of the Sphinx. And there were two beings I've never seen before. They were like mechanical robots, like weird, with Anubis mask, like heads. They were like, what the damn is that? Oh, wow. And they just moved to the side and the door slid and I could go in. I got in, I knew the way, I knew where to go, what room. And when I came in, things were different. It was much more brighter and the walls were more luminescent. And there was a strong white and green light that was coming from the end of the corridor. And for the first time, that light was there. And I thought, oh, I know what it is. The arcs have activated. There must be an arc there. Let's go and have a look. So I walked. It's a very long corridor, and I know where it is going. It is going towards the Kefren pyramid. I know where it is. And there, at the end of this corridor, there was a side corridor on the left, and with steps going down, way down, even lower level. And the light was coming from there. So I walked a few steps and something was telling me, it's not the moment you go there. Something was telling me not to go there. It was weird. Jean-Charles, what are you doing there? But so I went there and I remember I bent to see better in the corridor. And I saw the corridor and I saw a room, the entrance of a room. It looked wide, quite big. There was a chair, like futuristic chair, like the pilot chair in the ships that was there. And I could see blue patches of light in the background, like squares. It may have been pods, I don't know. It was blue patches of light. And I thought, something told me, no, go back and look at the egg. You came for that, and then you come back here. I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to do that. It was weird. So I went back to just look into the fourth eggs. The feline guardian was there, is really, I think, assigned to this hall with rooms under the Sphinx. Only that. I think that's where he is. He's the guardian of the place. And I looked into the fourth eggs. I had holographic images and data. And then this guardian told me, well, it's now time you go back. I went, okay. And I didn't think about, I want to go back there in the corridor and see what's there. No. I just went back and I was beamed back. And Jean-Charles was there the same night, but in the other section, more modern, not where I was. I was in a hall of records, but he was in something with more technology and like a ship, or I don't know. But we weren't far from each other. It's absolutely mental. It's amazing.
Well, that's very important.
Very near from you.
Yeah, so that is very interesting because it tells us that under the Gizeh complex there is a hall of records with all of these ancient technologies and libraries and archives, and there's also some kind of an ark or a spacecraft there as well in a different area, different section. So that maybe is a similar pattern in other locations, whether like in Antarctica, the Vostok. I mean, that was also described as a labyrinth of rooms and halls, but also as an ark. I think it was Thorhan that described that to you. So yes, so it sounds as though in many of these places, there can be both a hall of records and an ark, or maybe in some places it can be just an ark, like JP said, under the Atlantic. It's a big ark, a big massive ship. But under Gizeh, there's a hall of records. Under Vostok, there's a hall of records, and possibly an ark. So before we move on to other places. Anything you want to add, Jean-Charles, to what Elena just said about her being there at the same time, but you didn't see each other, you just later on learned that you're both there the same time, exploring different areas of the Gizeh complex and the Hall of Records and the Ark?
What I say, my friend, it's amazing because all it's true, and it's very difficult to explain the feeling that have the same memories in the same place and at these times. I don't know the life precisely about archaeologists, about ELENA, and I don't know this part of his life and this detail of in Egypt and go to the tunnel and the claustrophobia and blah blah blah. And she tell me, okay, you can't invent this because I don't tell that anybody knows that. So this is a proof you are here. In the same time, it's for me the big strange things that there is a wall between ELENA and me, and we are very, very, very near at this time. And if she bend and enter in this room, maybe she saw me and tell me, oh, and it's a very, very short, and it's not a coincidence. It's now it's not a coincidence. We traveled together at the same place, and I don't find the right word because I'm shocked and I'm mesmerized, and I love this experience because it's you don't forget that for the rest of your life. It's impossible.
Yeah, it sounds as though this is the time for the truth about the Hall of Records and the Ark in different places, especially at the Gizeh complex, to come out, because many have spoken about this in the past, many people, but now is the time for this to come out. So you also talked, Jean-Charles, of another Ark that you traveled to, or a Hall of Records.
Yeah.
And this time was under Mount Kailash in in Tibet,
yes,
or in the Himalayan region. So why don't you explain? And you contacted me on April 7, telling me about this. So explain what happened. Where were you taken, and what did you see?
Yeah, Victor, tell me we must go to another place, and okay. He teleports me in a place like the other place with the beings. Everything is the same. It's like a copy and paste of the place. And I tell to Victor, where are you? And he tell me in Tibet. Okay, where? And he tell me we are under the Kailash mountain. And I say, I don't, what is Kailash mountain? It's near in Tibet, the Potala, you know the Potala? It's a mountain with the monk, and the name of the monk mountain with the temple. I don't remember the name, but it's very, every people go to tourist in this mountain. So Lhasa, okay, thank you. Lhasa, you know Lhasa? Lhasa, it's a place for a monk, and he tell me this is another place. I don't know if it's an ark, but it look like ark. There is a lot of beings inside, and there is again with the liquid portal behind me. And for the first time, I can move into the room because I'm curious. It's 3 times. So okay, and I see a lot of crystals, very bright blue crystal in the panel, and no inscription. Just I want to touch, but I don't want to try. I don't. Maybe everybody wake up. And I remember there is a lot of things and it was a crystal, and I see a corridor. Okay, and I go to the corridor, and I remember I feel something very warm around me, and I am in a big place with a lot of pods, a lot of beings. There is a lot of beings inside. So I think it's a crew in the principal place where I was with ELENA and now. And after that, there is a lot of beings, but they just it's not only 7 people, seven beings in an ark or in a spaceship or whatever. I think this is the crew, and in the center, and there is a lot of other place with a lot of people inside, like evacuate people from a disaster, and they're in stasis and wait to wake at the good moments. This is I think it's this possibility, but there is a lot of beings in stasis in another room, and the crystal, and I remember it was like I don't in English, tungsten, translucid metal, translucid with no bolt again, and it was like a metal but translucid, and I feel a lot of light, but I can't tell where the light from. It's everything is light, but you don't know where is the source again and again. But it's the same schema. Maybe the same things, the
pattern.
Same beings. What?
Pattern.
Thank you. The same pattern in each place I was. It's the same place. And I have another place after that in Atlantic, Bahamas.
Okay, well, before we get to the Atlantic and the Bahamas, maybe ELENA, do you have anything to share about this Ark or Hall of Records in Tibet under Mount Kailash that Jean-Charles was taken to? Do you know anything about that?
I do not know about this arc specifically, but I know that the Intergalactic Confederation has bases in the Himalayas and the Galactic Federation as well, but we are more interested in the Cedars, the Intergalactic Confederation. And we have also the testimony of Robert L. that you got to interview, Michael. I know there are things there from ancient civilizations that are just preserved. And something I want to add about the descriptions Jean-Charles is doing, making about these ships, the interior. I got to see only under the Lake Vostok interior. A little bit under the Sphinx at the end of the corridor, but I just witnessed the one under Lake Vostok. But Jean-Charles just describes the same decoration, structure in all the other ones. This is exactly how the ships of the Intergalactic Confederation, the Cedars, are made of. Crystal walls, crystal clusters, control desk with crystals, and this blue, green, white luminescent light coming from the walls that are like faceted like crystals, and sometimes clusters coming out of it. This is the technology and the way of building of the Cedars of the Intergalactic Confederation. So I really want to mention that. That's what I would add.
Thank you, Elena. And it's worth pointing out that that Himalayan base that Robert L. said that he was taken to, that we is associated with this intergalactic confederation, that was in the Ladakh region of the Himalayas. So that's very different to Mount Kailash. That's some distance away. So it tells us that, which is probably not a surprise, that there are multiple locations there, that the Intergalactic Confederation has a base in the Ladakh area of the Himalayas, but there's also an ancient ark or a hall of records somewhere around the Kailash mountain, which of course is one of the sacred mountains in the Hindu and Buddhist pantheon. Well, so now, Jean-Charles, you were taken to another arc, and again, it's important to emphasize what you were observing, that there's this portal system connecting the different arcs, and that you're able to travel to the arcs via some kind of teleportation, or whether it's involving these portals. Maybe you can just explain that. So yeah, tell us how you ended up going to this other arc in the Bermuda Triangle or the Bahamas area.
Yeah, I was again sucked in the light, and I was in the Bahamas under the Triangle Bermuda. And I remember when I was a kid, at the same time in 1977, I drew my parents' testimony and I send you the drawing, like when I was young, and Elena too. And I remember there is a big spaceship. I don't know if it's arc or a base, but it was very futuristic. And I remember there is the trident, like emblem of Neptune or Poseidon. You know the what is the name? Trident.
Trident.
Oh, trident.
Yeah, okay. I suppose.
Okay. Michael, trident. Okay, and for the first time, I see a detail I never seen in the other arc. Or there is a crystal. There is a lot of futuristic inside, like translucid and blue light, etc. But there is a trident in the door of the spaceship where I was, and I remember this detail because I searched in the internet, and the trident, it's an emblem, a lot of witness testimony that there was they see a UFO. UFO in the sea. It's not a UFO. It's a OSNI. You know, the UFO enters the sea and outside the sea with a trident emblem, and the trident is an emblem of aqua beings and under the Bahamas. And it's curious because, like in Egypt, when I was young, I go now in adult in Egypt, and when I was young in Bahamas, and I remember bring a sand with a tan in the bottom of my bed. When I was young, I'm teleported in the place, and I remember I was wet. My pajamas was wet. I was in the water, and I feel everything. So it's not a dream, you know, it's not a vivid dream. It's like a teleportation. And now I am in another place, like Arcs, with this. And I heard recently GP, or I think it's GP, tell about the technology extraterrestrial base under Bahamas. So everything corroborates like I saw. It's incredible because the different things is I see under the sea, like a rock, and there is the emblem of trident, and it's open, and under there is a big space room with a trident in the wall, in the door and in the wall, like an emblem in a spaceship. And I remember that in the crystal, and there is a lot of beings inside the spaceship too, but I don't remember the color of the skin. There is a pods too. I think there is a lot of place in the earth awakening at this time, and everything is linked by the Stargate inside Kalash mountain, inside Egypt, inside, and everything opening. And I remember that at this time when I send you the email to the Trident and this teleportation in the Bahamas, you know what? At this time precisely, ELENA do a live about Neptune with something in an arc in Neptune, rise and awake. And I say to ELENA, oh my God, it's not coincidence, okay? Listen to me. I dream, like when I say I dream, you understand? When I dream, I was in the Bahamas, okay, and I was in like a spaceship, and oh, okay, very interesting. And when I say, I see something strange, I see a trident, and she tell me the trident is Neptune, the god of the ocean. And at this time, the life don't begin. So I don't know what she say in this life. And she says Neptune planet with the arc, and she send a signal into Earth, into Moon, into in the space to awake something. And at this night, I was again in a place with a Neptune trident with the arc or a spaceship, probably linked with Neptune. How could you have a chance to again? And when I see in my computer, ELENA is in live. Okay, what Neptune? And what? And I don't know what she say. Neptune arc and connection between Earth, and I say, oh my God, I must send an email to my friend again. And I send you email, Michael, and she tell me, okay, send an email again, Michael, and listen when you have the time, because it's a live, it's not recording. So you fall on your chair, my friend. Wait after. And okay, and 1 or 2 hours after, I listen the live, and oh my God! And you receive my mail before the live begins, and it's another incredible things happen.
Yes, I remember that very clearly. ELENA, you talked about beforehand telling you that an arc was activating on Neptune at its south pole region. And of course, we have that news coming from, I think, the European Space Agency saying that their weather systems or their satellites had detected, I think it was actually ground-based telescopes. That's right. I think they detected
Chile and Hawaii.
Right. Yes, that's right. In Chile and Hawaii, that they detected a rapid heat increase in Neptune. So, yeah, why don't you tell us? So, what do you have to add about this arc activating at Neptune's south pole, and there being some kind of a connection with this arc buried in the Atlantic near the Bahamas?
Yes, Michael. Well, on March 28. 2022, a month just before we are just recording this video, Thorhan gave me a message update, like, connect and write about the arcs. telling that these arcs in many places on the planet are not only one ship, but most of the time where the arcs landed, the people built the whole city around them, and also explained to me that the arcs were never isolated. There was structures around. He was explaining about that, and he said the arcs have activated and they are starting to increase the heat as they activate. And then he added, it was March 28th, he added, it is like the old Oumuamua who arrived in your star system and started, that's when all started to slowly activated until the Intergalactic Confederation arrived, and then it was a boost of activation and heat. And he mentioned Oumuamua started to activate. Okay, and he added at the end, you will hear soon about Neptune. Okay, trust you, of course. April 11, 2 weeks after, big news everywhere. These two astronomical observatories, Chile and Hawaii, have detected a brutal sudden heat up at the south pole of Neptune. And it was describing these articles, of very serious science papers, saying that Neptune had entered a very cold winter cycle, and it wasn't normal at all that the temperature was heating up. And they said it had anyway started to heat up slowly, abnormally, since 2000, I think they said 2017 or 2018, exactly when Oumuamua arrived in our star system. And I was like, wow. So I told you, Michael, I always give you the info first, and I told you I was about to do a video, and I told no one else. And I always do videos of my messages to back up the date, and that's where we are.
Yeah, that's a very important synchronicity there, that you were told that by Thorhan, and then we have this confirmation from those telescopes in Hawaii and Chile that Neptune is in fact heating up rapidly, and that it could be dated back to 2018, which is just after Oumuamua was first detected. Now, Oumuamua is very interesting because it has the name, it's a Hawaiian name, which means advanced scoutcraft. So it's like, why would they give a interstellar object a name like that, an advanced scoutcraft? It's like they knew something was coming, and of course they knew that the Intergalactic Confederation, or the fleets of the Cedars, were coming back, and that this was activating everything. Now, what's very interesting, and this takes us to the present time, is that the same Professor Avi Loeb, who wrote a lot about Oumuamua as being the first interstellar object to come into our solar system, and he did the scientific study of it and wrote a book about it, and it's very famous for saying that it's actually an extraterrestrial artifact as opposed to just an interstellar comet. Now he says, he just recently, actually just a day ago, he has put out, he was interviewed and put out some information about a new investigation into a interstellar object that crashed in the Pacific Ocean near Papua New Guinea in 2014. And what's interesting is that he says that even though astronomers knew about this object crashing and that it was interstellar because of this incredible speed it was traveling, that the Air Force had classified the information, so they couldn't move forward on their studies from 2014. But the Air Force just declassified the information. And so now Professor Loeb is saying that this is an actual extraterrestrial artifact that crashed there. And I think you have some more information, ELENA, from Thorhan to share about this object that crashed in the Pacific.
Yes, Michael. When I asked Laurent about it, he said that this is artificial object. It is extraterrestrial technology, comes from other star systems. And he said it's a gift for humanity. And it arrived in certain conditions that it attract attention, that people know where it is and go and find it. He said to me that US Space Command is aware of that and is aware of what it is and what's in it. Now, I try to ask him more about it. So there are two things. He said to me that he's not allowed to tell exactly what's in it for safety reason. Otherwise, this object would be taken or destroyed. But I could briefly read his mind. There's something metallic technology in it that is going to be useful. So as a gift. I do not know more, but he confirmed. And what's interesting, he mentioned that US Space Command knows everything about it. So, and we know they work with extraterrestrials. We can speculate about that.
Right. Well, the fact that this information about that object has now been declassified by the Air Force after having sat on it for 8 years now, tells us that, they are definitely moving forward with letting people know. And maybe this is something we can look forward to, that there will be some discovery or an announcement that this actually is some artificial extraterrestrial artifact that crashed there in the Pacific. Jean-Charles, is there anything you want to add either about this new development or other arcs that you've been taken to or you know about?
Just something you receive. I don't remember. Peter Moon, and yesterday or there are 2 days I listened to the interview and I was very surprised because he talked about Tibet, and I wrote to email to Peter and add to friend in the Facebook, and I tell him, did you have any information about Kailash Mountain? And he tell me not Kailash Mountain, maybe, but in other place in Tibet there is a secret space alien base or with a futuristic information. So I was very happy to know there is something extraterrestrial in Tibet. This is what I want to say. But I remember a point, very important point. Each arc are connected with the Stargate, and I think they works. Every arc works like a family, and the point is there is a crystal, and I remember my friend Dan Willis about crystal memories. They can record everything inside because there's a lot of face inside, and it's like a laser to record something TV show but for the civilization, the crystal is very important. So I remember there is a lot of crystal in a lot of arc. So I think the crystal is very, very important, and the gate portals inside, it's very important too, because everything is linked inside Earth, outside Earth, outside in the other planet. There is no distance. The communication and the awakening is now, and I think a lot of arc awake right now. And the hot one in Antarctica is a reason why the ice melt, because the energy want to go outside, and maybe we saw Arc get out the ice of Antarctica, and I think this is the time to for the people in the Earth to awake for this revelation, and I'm very, very happy to be a part of this disclosure with my dear friend ELENA.
Yes, it's very important information, and the crystals that have been seen, that you've seen in these arcs, I mean, they can hold tremendous amount of information, and it seems that they are very good at holding holographic information as well, and that this is a function of these arcs, that and the arcs are connected with these halls of records. So it seems that storing a lot of information, the historical records of ancient civilizations, is an important function of these arcs. And of course, they're linked with these halls of records. So that's interesting as well, that there's a connection there. And in different places, you might have one or the other or both, like we saw in the case of the Sphinx. Now, one of the things that I know really inspires people, and maybe both of you can talk about this, is that you talked about, and both of you saw this when you went to the Arc, or in the Vostok region, where you saw these blue chambers, or these chambers containing these blue beings, and that these are the sleeping crew. And of course, you know, where are the sleeping crew? That their soul has incarnated into human bodies, and that they are now starseeds and they're awakening. So I think the question a lot of people has is, well, what happens when the starseeds awaken and they find out that they are part of the crew, and that their body, that their extraterrestrial body, is in this stasis chamber? And maybe that is, maybe in your cases, Jean-Charles, you talked about that being a possibility. So can you describe that? What's going to happen as people awaken and realize that they are part of the crew that is lying asleep in these stasis chambers, whether it's in Lake Vostok, whether it's under the Atlantic, or whether it's in the Himalayas? Well, what's going to happen? Does their life as a human end, or does it continue? But their life as a pilot on one of these arcs all of a sudden resumes. So can you explain what happens there?
I think personally, we are a lot of extension of others. Okay, there is ELENA, you, me, Melanie, and we have a central soul, and there is a lot of extension, and sometimes we can be to a lot of places at the same times, like in another timelines. But I don't think when the beings wake up, people sleep, or I think everything is linked. Like I say, everything is linked. And for me, when the beings wake up, the soul or humans connected with these beings don't die, just do another thing, but is linked. And she felt everything, like a plant with a resin, I think we are all in a lot of place. For me, maybe ELENA tell me if I'm wrong or not, but for me, I think it's not finished when the beings wake up. I think they connected with like a pilot, and they do one person, and they make a lot of things, and the pilot, or the soul, human soul, connected with the beings, feel everything she feel. So sometimes a lot of people collapse, or have dizziness, or because the beings wake up a little and after she sleep, and the person at the other place feel the connection, because the connection is very strong with the beings, and the people incarn in this creature or beings are linked forever. So there is a lot of people, because this is just a crew, but in a spaceship or ark, there is a lot of room with a lot of stasis. So there is not only 7 beings, there is a lot of people. I think the starseed is linked with a lot of beings, and it's like I say, extension. My extension. I have an extension in the Pleiadian. I have extension to the feline, extension with a reptilian extension. But we feel it's like when you say, "Oh, I have a déjà vu," because your extension live in another timelines, and sometimes in these timelines you feel, I know this person, but it's impossible. Yes, it's possible in another timelines. So I think everything, and at this time a lot of movies spoke about that multiverse. There is a lot of movie about multiverse right now. There is a lot of movie with a different timeline right now, because they want to wake up a lot of people in the earth with this movie. It's like the beings in stasis. When the being stasis, a lot of people in the earth awake at the same times.
Okay.
I think. This is my personal, okay?
Thank you,
ELENA.
Yes, ELENA.
Well, I don't know about living parallel lives. I think there's one consciousness, a unique consciousness to a body. Soul can be fractaled, but it's not a natural process. I know we can do that. It's a technology that exists. You can fractal part of the consciousness and put it in a clone. This technology exists and is used, and maybe not often for good reasons. I think I believe I do not have the answer for sure, but how I would see this and understand this would be comparable to the movie Avatar, where your consciousness jumps from a body envelope to another, but is never in the both at the same time. That's how I comprehend it. That if the body you once inhabited as one of these beings, your soul at one stage has for instance, a person has inhabited this body in stasis in this body, in one of these arcs, then the consciousness has gone, the body is empty, and the consciousness has gone through other incarnations and is reincarnated now in another body. But when these arcs are activated, only yourself can go there and activate the body you once inhabited. I think the way it works, to me, logically, is that your consciousness leaves your actual incarnated body and transfers into the older one. And this older one just wakes up and has physical activity. And you are just in a lethargic state. And I think that's what can happen. And then you can switch back. That's how I would see it. But I am not, of course, sure this is the right answer.
Is it possible to share, not share your soul? I understand we have only soul, but share power to be in a different place at the same times, like bilocution,
But you would need 2 consciousnesses. Because both would think differently.
Because I have an example, sorry. When I was in France, one day, somebody tell me, "Oh, is it good yesterday in the Champs-Élysées?" What? I am not in the Champs-Élysées. I was in a dinner with my family. no, it was you, Jean-Charles, with your wife, and I hug you and you speak to me. And I remember something, but it's impossible because I was not at this place. So it's not a person look at me. Or clone, I don't remember, but I have a little memory of, oh, this guy, it's déjà vu, but I never seen before. And you are Jean-Charles, but I was in a dinner with my family, I swear. So you have a contact physical with me, and he spoke to me, and he hugged me, and how it's possible because I have just a consciousness, and I was in this place. Do we have an explication about that?
No, it's weird. Wow.
It's weird. Okay.
Well,
I'm weird.
Wow.
I'm weird. Sorry, I'm weird.
No, that we all are.
Well, I think of the secret space programs where you actually have people doing these 20 backs and they're multiple timelines. And so it's like, at the same time, you can have people doing a 20 back and also leading a normal life at the same time. So this soul fracturing is, or bifurcating the soul or different aspects of the consciousness, a very, very interesting one. I think that's something we need to understand better. But certainly I know people are asking that question, and I'm getting a lot of contacts from people saying, well, I dreamed that I'm on one of these arcs sleeping. So what happens when I wake up? And it's a very interesting question. So just to wrap up, Jean-Charles, maybe we begin with you. Is there anything that you're doing soon? Any announcement you want to make about activities? I know you're working on your film, South Shore 2.
South Shore 2 is already in process because there's a lot of special effects. But at this time, I'm preparing. This is a scoop, my friend. Starseed Revelation 2, the sequel of Starseed Revelation, 100% real about my life. And why I want to a part 2, because in a few weeks there are some people contact me, a friend, and decide to testimony. They live with me 25, 26 years ago about everything I told in my capsule video with my parents, with a lot of proof I have, but I was not sure to share with the people. Now I'm sure people are ready. And the part 2 will be amazing because for the first time of the world, I share a proof about my life and a witness about my experience and about something like Men in Black. And there is a lot of people want to speak now because they tell me I have a great courage to share my story, and they decide it's a gift from the star. It's a gift from the star to make this gift for me, and they don't want to trick your voice or blur. No. I want to appear in the light, and it's a great honor to me, Jean-Charles, to share that everything you tell to Michael, to Elena, to people is true. And I'm so happy to announce this video because I think a lot of things change before you watch this new movie. And after that, I continue in the same time South Shore 2 because it's very important. And the times during these 2 years, it's not a coincidence I stopped my video because there is a lot of people, the universe connects me, like you, my friend Elena, and Dan Willis. Now we are friends, and Tony. And there is a lot of people welcome aboard. And I can include these new friends and into my movie. So the casting about South Shore 2 will be wow. So I take my time to do the best for the people. So this is the news.
Thank you, Jean-Charles. So, Elena, what is it that you're working on at the moment? I know you're putting the finishing touches on your next book in your extraterrestrial encounter series. So, why don't you tell us?
Thank you, Michael. Well, I'm working on trying to finish. There's so many data that comes in the picture. Finish working on this book. It will be called Seguidores, and it will talk about the arrival of the Intergalactic Confederation, about the Nine, about all the arcs and the Hall of Records, my perspective and my experiences, but also I'm not only telling, passing on intel and telling what I'm told or what I learn. I also do my own researches, and the old archaeologist me also has a lot to say to bring up facts and interesting stuff. It will be about spirituality as well, so a lot of nice information in it. So. With lots of drawings, so I'm working on it at the moment, and that's taking my whole actual universe and life.
Well, very important information. I mean, I'm finding this information that you've been sharing really fascinating. In fact, my next webinar, I'm going to be focusing on Hall of Records, portals, inner Earth, and our ET heritage because of this information that you've been receiving. It really is groundbreaking, and I think it has the potential to wake up a lot of people, especially, with your background, Elena, your hands-on experience with archaeology and in Egypt. I mean, that means that people really need to take seriously what you say. I mean, you've been to the Hall of Records in the Gizé complex 4 times now, and so this is really quite remarkable. So I'm really glad you're writing a book about that. So I want to thank you both, Jean-Charles and Elena, for being on Exopolitics today and sharing your incredible stories.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. And for your listeners, if you want to learn more about my May 21st webinar, just go to exopolitics.org. So thank you for listening, and aloha.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael.